Hi everyone, welcome back to the Spotlight. I'm on another dog walking video today. Fenerbache tonight, Jose Mourinho. Big game. We really could do with a win after 2 draws in the Europa League, but in all honesty, I think a draw isn't the worst result we could have. We're coming to some easier fixtures in the Europa League after this one. Our 2 probably the most difficult fixtures, Porto and Fenerbahce away. In the grand scheme of things, you would say 2 draws away in them 2 fixtures aren't bad results. But at the moment, Ten Hag needs wins. Like I said, I think in my last video, yeah, a draw isn't the worst result in the bigger scheme of the team, but really, victories are what Ten Hag needs. Half-assed performances and draws continually. Some people might say it's a step in the right direction because we're not losing. Personally, I still think he needs performances and wins to stay in a job. Things have stabilised a little bit with these draws and a win at Brentford. It's not so doom and gloom, but people are getting carried away. We are still 12th in the league and we have only got 2 draws in the Europa League. It's still not good enough, even if there is slight signs of progress. But Jose's been talking a lot, which is why I wanted to make this video really. I don't know what the wind noise is like because I've not brought my mic today, so I'm doing it straight off my phone. So apologies for the wind noise. But yeah, on Jose, I think Jose knows exactly what he's doing, exactly what he's saying. He's bigging up Man United as though we're a way bigger team than Fenerbahce. He's talking glowingly about Man United. My personal opinion on it is he's trying to give United a false sense of security, a false sense of hope in this game. Trying to get in the minds that it's going to be an easy game. And then come out and do a Jose thing on us probably. Asa been super kind to Man United. We all know he's been scathing about us after he left and the ownership and all that lot. So I think some of it's mind games as in about the actual game tonight. And I think some of it's probably mind games knowing that Ten Hag's potentially up for the chop and Jose's not having the greatest time at Fenerbahce at the minute. He's probably slightly keeping his options open, is my opinion, in case there is chance of a return, which I think is extremely unlikely. But it's Jose, innit? I don't think he'd turn down United again if we did come and ask him to rejoin the club. Not that I would take him back now, but I do think he was sacked when he shouldn't have been back in the day. As for Amrabat, that's the other news, isn't it? Coming out and saying you'll have to ask Jason Wilcox why he didn't get kept at the club. Well, facts are, Sovereign, I'm afraid. You were there with Eric Ten Hag. You didn't even play. You had a couple of games at left back when you first come. With Donkey out there, I'm afraid to say, mate. And you come in for a couple of games towards the end of the season. And alright, we was a bit better, but we also played a completely different formation to what Eric Ten Hag normally plays. And for the rest of the season you were there, where was you? On the bench. So I think all these United fans talking about how we should have kept Amrabat, bigging up Amrabat, I'm afraid the guy's bang average. I said it from the first moment we bought him. He's not a very good player. And I think, looking at the grand scheme of things in United, we buy too many average players and hype them up to be better than they are. And what happens is we pay them too much wages and we can't sell them again. Most big clubs will get a player, and if they're not in and around the first team within a season or 2, they're then sold. Why do we keep players for 4, 5, 6 seasons when they never break into the first team? So personally, I think getting rid of Amrabat, even though he was on loan after 1 season and not buying him, was the right thing to do. because he ain't good enough. And why do I always come and start doing these videos when I'm halfway up a hill? I don't know. I think the same will happen with Xerxes. There's loads of talk about Xerxes. Is he good enough? Is he not? Look, my opinion on Xerxes is he's hold-up play against the poorer sides. I think did he play against Southampton and that lot? Yeah, it looked alright, linking play up versus poor sides. The last 2 or 3 games he's come on or started or whatever else, he's been poor. Like really poor. And I'm afraid, how is Xerxes a player to take us to the future? People say he's like Firmino. He's a false 9, he's a 9.5. He's nowhere near as good as Firmino. And we haven't got the wingers like Salah and Mane, have we? To feed off a Firmino type. I understand why we bought him, a different type. But let's be honest here, is he better than Weghorst? No. Ten Hag bought Weghorst in to do the same thing. Play that false 9, hold the ball up, link play a bit. And he did it perfectly, adequately, which, or I mean, some would say poorly. He wasn't brought in as a goal scorer, the same as Xerxes isn't. But for some reason the fan base are getting behind Xerxes and saying he's unbelievable, try him in a 10 and all this lot. The only reason Weghorst played in a 10 is because we haven't got one. Well, we have, but Bruno gets played there all the time. And let's not forget, when we talk about Bruno, everyone says, and I know what the narrative's going to be tonight if we lose without Bruno. We created nothing without Bruno. Without Bruno, we don't create anything. Can I just say one thing on Bruno Fernandes? I don't want to get stuck on this video on Fernandes again. It's a myth we're a better team with Fernandes. We finished 8th last season with a minus goal difference with Fernandes playing nearly every game. We're 12th in the league at the minute with what? A minus goal difference with Fernandes playing every game. There's no sample size or evidence to evidence we're a better team with him because we never play without him. And everyone references the one Crystal Palace game where we got hammered 4-0 without Bruno. He wouldn't have changed the result in that game. We've been hammered and dominated multiple times with Bruno in the team. I think the 7-0 Liverpool was there. All the 3-0s we've lost. Under Ten Hag's reign, is it 25 or something like that? Bruno will have played in probably 22 out of the 25 of them. It's an absolute myth we're a better team with Bruno in it. Total and utter. And if we lose tonight and Bruno's not playing, I know what the fan base is going to be like. Oh, we're crap without Bruno. We're shite without Bruno. We don't create anything without Bruno. We don't create anything with Bruno. We're on a minus goal difference last year. We're on a minus goal difference this year. We'd scored 5 goals before the weekend in some 7 games. What are we creating with Bruno in the team? The fans need to wake up. Big time need to wake up to we're not more creative with Bruno in this side. It's a total and utter myth. It's a complete and utter garbage talk. But that's enough on Bruno. I want to talk about other signings. Like, the real problem I have with United and going forward is recruitment, especially under Ten Hag. We're buying too many average players. Too many players that are not good enough. Too many players that are making us stay where we are. When people are defending Amrabat and defending players like Xerxes, and I know we've not seen a lot of Ugarte, but we spent 60 million quid on him and the guy's not playing. And when he's come off the bench or he has started, he's looked average. And yes, I know that people might need time to get into the Premier League And that's fair enough. And it's on Ten Hag for not playing him. But the reality of it is, he was sat on PSG's bench for a reason. And I know PSG are hardly the team that they were over the last few years, but they're a young up-and-coming side who are trying to rebuild. And they don't want to rebuild with Ugarte. So why is Man United, do we think we can rebuild with Ugarte for 60 million? It's a strange decision for me buying Ugarte. I think I've said it before. Some people might say he's the profile of midfielder we need right now because he's combative and fast and gets around the pitch, but there's a person playing for Fenerbache tonight who's exactly the same, Fred. Poor on the ball, can run around a lot and win the ball back. We got rid of him to replace him with what looks like a younger Fred, in my opinion. I think Paul Scholes is absolutely correct when he says that we need calmness, we need people who can keep the ball, keep controlling midfield, and we don't have it. People talk about Zubimendi type. I would have much rather got Zubimendi than Ugarte, and I know we want leaving and all that lot, but that's the type of player we need. We don't need... What other top team has a headless chicken running around who's no good on the ball? Liverpool don't have it. They have 3 ball playing quality midfielders. City don't have a... They have Rodri, who's obviously a destroyer, but he's class on the ball as well. Completely controls the midfield on the ball. They don't have headless chickens running around. Arsenal don't have headless chickens. They've got frigging Declan Rice and Partey. Why are we obsessed with getting a destroyer in the midfield? We don't need one. We need quality in the midfield. What do we say every single week? We don't keep the ball. So why are we buying more players that can't keep the ball? And as for injuries, Ten Hag can definitely not use injuries for excuses again. And he's started to creep them into his press conference, I noticed. Shaw is a joke. Malassi is a joke. Mount is a joke. It's not even... There's no point mentioning them. They're not injured. They're just not players. And Ten Hag has bought other players to play when they're not there now. Apart from a left back, which is ridiculous, but I've said that millions of times. But what do I think the result will be tonight? I can see it being a draw. Probably 1-1. Something like that. And mark my words now, the narrative will be we don't create without Bruno. I can see it already, and I'm absolutely sick of that myth being talked about for the reasons I talked about earlier. But that is it for today. Just a quick walking video for you while I'm out and about, and I will see you all on the next one.